What's good, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome back to the Water Boys channel. As today, I got another what-if scenario for you. I'm going to be comparing two pass rushers, probably the most famous two of them all in this free agency draft class. But before we dive into any of that, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video. As you do know, I will keep you updated on anything Kansas City Chiefs related, also any breaking news going on with the NFL. As for today, let's jump into would you rather have Chandler Jones or Von Miller coming into Kansas City this free agency. So we do know this is not a lost topic. We know this is something KC will be in position to get this offseason. We know one of their biggest needs, if not biggest needs, is the pass rush. It's the defense, and they need to find a way to fix it because, as we do know, they played very terrible, definitely for a line that has over $200+ million on that line with the likes of a Frank Clark and Chris Jones. And then you can go into the offseason and get in a Jarron Reed. And then bringing in Melvin Ingram, he was a bright spot as well, and I hope we do retain him. But all that money on the line, and then you're still one of the worst sack teams in the league, worst pass rushing teams in the league. It's unacceptable, so you know that's what they're going to be, their main focus is going to be. And like I mentioned before, does it have to do with the players or does it have to do with scheming? I'm 50-50 with it, really. Like, there's just, in my eyes, there's no way it can be solely on the player. Definitely when we know the potential and the talents, the lights of especially a Chris Jones, a defensive tackle who's almost broke the league sacks before. And then you've had players before come in here like D Ford, who's fallen off completely, and he's actually only had one good year. He's been a sack leader before. You've had a Justin Houston, Tamba Ali's. I know different coaching staff and schemes and things like that. But again, that's why I blame scheming, and I don't know if Spagnuolo is putting them in the right positions to succeed. But then you go on the hands of the players as well. I know Chris Jones has battled injuries. I know Frank Clark has battled injuries. And we can go with our debate with Frank Clark, whether he was worth the first-round pick or not. Because in my eyes, yeah, he's very underwhelming, and that's why I do expect him to get cut rather than restructured. Because you restructure, it pushes way too much money into the future, which you're going to have more dead cap, so you might as well just get rid of your loss now. But again, people are going to be like, oh, that's a waste of first-round draft pick. I don't know. He had one of the most historic playoff runs. If it wasn't for him, like I mentioned before, we do not have a Super Bowl. So I would trade that first-round pick again, and he's been better than D Ford throughout his career with San Fran. If you had to compare the likes of a Frank Clark and D Ford, Frank Clark has performed better. So I know it doesn't seem like much, but I'm going to take him as well. And it's a league where pass rushers are hard to come by, and it's unfortunate that he wasn't what we expected, but he got us a ring, so I'm thankful for it as well. But let's dive into the debate we're going to have. And the comment sections are open down below. Let me know who you would prefer. Would you prefer a Chandler Jones or a Von Miller? And my first one I'm going to dive into is Von Miller. So, of course, Chiefs fans, we know Von Miller oh so well. We've played him most of his career. He's been havoc against any quarterback we've had. And honestly, I would love to have either of these guys. But I'm going to slide towards Chandler Jones. But let me mention the positives of Von Miller and also the downsides as well. Von Miller, he still does have that pass rushing ability. You can tell it's in his craft. That's what he's always going to be able to do. I just think in this point of his career as well, that's what you got to solely focus on. He is going to be 33, or I think he's going to be 32. Chandler Jones is going to be 33. And I don't know if he's the type of player that we're used to getting. And if you look at his numbers, too, they have been on the decline. He did do good with the Rams. He had 5 sacks with the Rams since joining them as well. He had a good playoff run as well. I want to say he had 3 or 4 sacks there, too, as well. He knows, and that's another positive spot for him as well. When it's playoff time, he knows how to turn the championship caliber type of player on as well. It's another thing that I'm kind of iffy with Von Miller. It seems like he's been constantly getting hurt every year as well. And that's something I'd be concerned about, even before he got traded as well. Actually, when he was still traded. Now, they could be skeptical as well because he ended up playing the next week after he got traded. But he had a sprained ankle, and he was out for a little bit as well. And then even years before, he's missed time with Denver as well with injuries. And the older he gets, it seems the more he gets hurt. In KC, pass rusher is a position they need to nail this offseason to succeed. Because if they flop on this, there's going to be huge turnovers going into 2023. And that's something KC doesn't want to have happen. If they need to succeed this year, pass rusher needs to be a success. and a key focal point. And if they're going for a likes of Von Miller, he needs to stay injury-free, risk-free at that is all. And he needs to be he's not going to be the pass rusher back from like 2015 and 16 when Broncos were beating the Panthers in the Super Bowl. But if he can get us close to double-digit sacks, which is what he almost got this year as well, he had 9.5 sacks. If he can get around that, again, 9.5 sacks is second most on the team. So I will take it. You got to remember, Frank Clark had 4 sacks. I want to say Chris Jones led the team with 10 sacks. So any progress on this D-line is anything for me at this point. The reason, I want to also mention this point before I do go to Chandler Jones. And Von Miller, too, he does look like, watching his tape from last year, even though he wasn't getting to the quarterback as effectively as what he used to, he's still a good run stopper, which was cool to see. Every time the running back came to his side, he knew how to shut down that lane as well. And that's something KC needs to focus because, and I hope it's not the same because it's just the same year in and year out. But when KC starts the season on the defensive side of the ball, they give up a lot of yards and the defense just struggle. I don't know if Spagnuolo's scheme is difficult to learn or what it is, but I don't want to see that again. And definitely, if you want to stop the run early in the season, you need one side to be shut down. And then if you bring a Melvin Ingram back as well, he knows how to shut down the other side too. So that's progress as is. I think at this point, Miller is a good pass rusher, and he's good at stopping the run on his side of the ball too. So there's good things to look for him. The injuries have me concerned, and it's just if he's the same player that KC is used to seeing as well. Because if KC fans are used to seeing that Denver player, we're going to be highly disappointed with him coming to Kansas City if he does. But again, I think he will bring promise if he does come. I would be ecstatic to still get him. But now let's dive on, not the other side of the ball, but the other player on that side of the ball, and it will be Chandler Jones. The reason I like Chandler Jones is because even as age keeps creeping up with him, one of his perfect arts of the game is getting to the quarterback, and he gets to the quarterback in any shape or fashion. Now, he started the season off like with a bang. Like, honestly, if he would have kept going throughout the year, he might have been like ridiculous stats. Against Tennessee, he had 5 sacks right off the get-go. Honestly, I thought about putting money on him right then to win Defensive Player of the Year. Good thing I didn't, because then it didn't go downhill, but it was quiet. And he still had a good year, definitely for a 33-year-old pass rusher. He had over 10.5 sacks. I want to say over 40 tackles as well. He's a good pass rusher, and that's definitely with these two type of guys too. You don't want to focus on pass rushing and with what they'll bring for you for a year or two. Depends on the contract you sign them with. It's not going to be like these younger guys where you start critiquing their game. Are they big enough? Do they got the speed? Can they bull rush and things like that? We already know what a Chandler Jones and a Von Miller can give to you. Is their availability going to be there for you? They're going to be healthy, and if they still got that skill to get the pass rusher. I believe both of these guys do. I just believe Chandler Jones has more of an edge with that as well. Chandler Jones is even bigger, and I don't know. I think he's more consistent. I love what he brings to the game. He just attacks the quarterback as well, and I think he would be a better fit in KC. I think they both would be amazing fits. Honestly, if I wanted to end this discussion whatsoever, and someone might say it in the comments too, fuck it, spend $30 million this year. Get a Chandler Jones. Get a get a Melvin Ingram too. He'll be rotational, and get a Von Miller. Just invest heavily on it and see how it go crazy. See how it happens. Will that happen? Highly unlikely, but it would be exciting to see. I just have to give the edge to Chandler Jones because I think he's the better pass rusher at this point of his career. But let me know in the comments down below. I know KC fans, this comments will be crazy with Von Miller, and I don't disagree because he's terrorized us for years. And honestly, then you hear Von Miller, how he speaks on the Chiefs as well. He's a big Patrick Mahomes fan, and also he idolized one of the greatest of all time, Derek Thomas. That's why he wore his number. Now, he won't wear it here, but I would still accept a 55. I would still accept 40 again. Even with Chandler Jones, wear a 55. It seems like that's a good number in rotation if Frank Clark does leave, which I think is highly expected at this point. One of those guys could take a 55 number, so we'll see how it goes. But like I did mention, guys, let those comments blow up. I want to see, who do you want, a Chandler Jones or a Von Miller? You knew this one was going to come for debate, definitely with what needs we need in this offseason, and pass rusher is the biggest one. But I'm going to close out this video, but before I do, please be sure to subscribe to the channel because I'll be checking in with you guys daily. Oh yeah, like this video as well. Give me that big thumbs up. I'm going to be checking out, guys. You take care.